Welcome back. Mr. T. Koshy is CEO at ONDC, which is Open Network for Digital Commerce, and he's joining us right now on the program. Mr. Koshy, good morning. Prashant here. Great to see you as always, sir. And we're speaking, I think, after a while. So the big headline is this. Since ONDC was launched formally in January of last year, the network has facilitated about 50 million transactions. Am I getting that right, sir? That's the big number?
That's true. That's true. When we, started ONDC as a first time in the world idea, we had people, banks and financial institutions and coming together to put the necessary support and said, what can you prove in the next 1 year as ONDC in terms of the capability to, run an open network and have real transaction and not just in theory. So we committed something like 50 lakh transaction, and happy is that we were able to do in this period 50 million transaction. Compared to what is possible, I know it's still a long way to go. But like we said, in the last January when we started, we had total of 1,200 transactions with 500 merchants. And this March, we have more than 400,000 merchants and doing more than 7-8 million transactions and adding up total of 50 million transactions. That's a positive, that's a good start, but a long way to go.
Sorry, 100,000 merchants, sir, you said?
400,000 merchants.
400,000 merchants now, right?
Yes. We started with 500 merchants in the January, who are all people we could convince. Now, its own pool has brought in more than 400,000 merchants, which include small merchants, big companies like HUL, farmer producer organizations, artisans, the auto drivers, variety. So that's why 400 plus, and it's growing every day.
So one of the, not criticism, but something which is pointed out when we talk about how fast can ONDC take off, etc., is that a bulk of it, right, is still led by mobility hailing apps. You did mention, we've spoken about Nammayatri, for example, in Bangalore earlier. Could you give us that proportion? Out of these...
when we started this idea, we had to, we said we'll start in some of the very difficult areas, grocery, food, and mobility. And we were, in the sense, mobility, we had, Nammayatri, just say that I'll take an anchor position and then start pushing. So what sort of picked up volume, and volume in the beginning was mobility. In fact, to be honest, if you look at in April, mobility was about 95%. But then we started adding, like, for example, in food, some of the entities like Magicpen and Paytm came and said, we will give the push there. So then they started again. So from 95%, it has now come down to 50%. Whereas when we added the other, today, if you look at, let's say, non-mobility and mobility, 50% mobility, 50% non-mobility. In mobility, Nammayatri was the only one in Bangalore. Now that we are in 9 cities and 2 metros have already gone live and few more are going to come and bus, etc. will come. Non-mobility, like we, for example, we have started seeing grocery picking up, fashion picking up. So if you take the non-mobility, fashion, mobility, beauty and personal care, home, etc., which has started only last few months, also started building its, its volume. In that sense, like food, which was non-mobility, 95% now is only 30%. So that's how any network will start. It's not like one central platform trying to build volume in that particular domain. It is bringing together diverse set of people. Some of them will take an anchoring position. And in each of this domain, and I believe that in probably in few years' time, every catalogable product and service will be in the network.
So you said 50% is mobility right now, and the rest of the 50% is grocery and food, right?
No. Grocery, food is where we started. Now we have remaining 50%, grocery, food, beauty and personal care, home. All of them.
You got all of the. So basically, non-mobility is 50. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Right, and this is by number of orders.
Yeah, because we don't, as you know, we are a network, and we don't look at anybody's competitive price-sensitive information. We only look at the number of orders and transactions. We don't look at the value. That is left to each of the buyer application and seller applications to manage.
Okay. Could you tell us where do you want to be? I mean, from say, what's the pace of growth that you're seeing, roughly? I mean, what's the right way to look at it?
The way I can say it's just too much in the nascent stage. The numbers I said from January 1,000 orders to in January 23 1,000 orders to March 24, 7.8 million is a big growth. I mean, I don't even know how to say that 7.8 million by 1,000 is a huge percentage. But we believe that it is showing that there's a momentum. We will not see the same percentage by end of the this financial year. We are all trying to put a stretch target of 10 times of what we reached, in the last 1 year. Essentially, what we are trying to achieve is what we reached in the last 1 year. Where can we do it in a month in the end of the coming year? That's what we are trying to push. And with the kind of support coming from the various buyer applications, and I can't steal anybody's thunder because we are also seeing some of the very innovative enterprises with very large digital consumer base coming over as the buyer side. And we also saw some very, very exciting brands, well-known brands like Domino's and HUL and MACD, etc. coming. And we also see some under support coming from farmer producer organization who have managed to have few crores worth of transaction by farmers directly selling their products on the network. So that's why the diversity is what we believe will help us in reaching this ambitious target.
Sorry, so that is a 10 times the number of transactions done so far, which is 50 million. So we talk. Yeah.
So we are hoping. That's right. We are hoping that by end of the year we should be able to do in a month 50 million. That's we can always take a stretch target and achieve that. That's what we are trying to push for.
Okay, trying to get to a monthly kind of run rate of about 50 million orders.
Today we have, like, for example, March we have about almost 8 million transactions. Can we make it five times of that?
Okay. So one of the things which many when we've discussed this in the past is and it still comes up. I mean, for example, I was talking to a travel company, OTA platform, which is coming up with the IPO, and I was asking them what do they make of ONDC, and it's the who assures service and quality and delivery. That still comes up as a question. Have you been able to figure that one out?
See, any new idea comes, and anybody who wants to question that will have to find some way of saying that could be a problem. Because it's unbundled, we believe that it could be a problem. Let me just look at it two ways. Tell me any other industry other than e-commerce where one entity does end-to-end service. Now, every business in the world is unbundled. Look at your telecom operator. They have somebody's giving the, they started by giving everything. But now, the tower is given by somebody, consumer service is given by somebody. In fact, if you look at Virgin Mobile globally, they only do have billing and consumer CRM. Rest is all unbundled. So it will definitely work. Second thing is, what are we seeing in what are we experiencing? Finally, the price of the pudding is in eating. With all this 50 million transaction, we don't have a dispute yet that has come to that level. So the thing is, all the people coming together with a very highly dependable and well-integrated digital audit trail, we are able to sort out any concerns that come seamlessly among all the people. Because all the the sellers and the buyer applications, they have one single aim, is to make sure that customers not short-shifted, and if there's any problem, sort it out. So the digital trail that helps to connect the communication between all these parties are helping us to resolve it, and that's how I believe it will go forward. And day by day, we are even strengthening those system checks and balances.
More power to you, more strength to you, sir. Thank you very much. As you said, it's still in the entire thing is still in its nascency, but very good growth, as you said. 50 million transactions done, and you're hoping that by the end of this year, you'll get to 50 million a month. That's essentially the aim, as you put it. Mr. Koshi, it's a pleasure, sir. Thank you very much, and hope to have you back soon as we take stock of what's happening with ONDC across various segments.